What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Man Cave Podcast, brought to you by our good friends from Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Man Cave Podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, plus on YouTube. So make sure you're following our YouTube channel as well. We got a loaded episode coming up here. I'm gonna reveal my brackets ahead of Thursday's tip-off. Plus, I've got my guy Hutson joining me, and he's going to make some baseball predictions coming up for this season. But we begin this episode of the podcast answering your questions. I love it when we get some questions for me to answer and such. So big thanks to all of you who have sent over questions. And you can do that anytime you want. You can send them on Facebook, X, email, whatever the case may be. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to start off with Surveyor Sam. He's got a few questions over here and some good ones. And I like the variety that Surveyor Sam is coming with. Has Greg Gard solidified himself as one of the top 3 coaches in the Big Ten? And if not, what does he have to do to get there? Yes, I think he has. I think you put him up there. I think you put, obviously, Tom Izzo up there. We'll see with Dusty May if he can continue this with Michigan. I mean, obviously, a fantastic season first year with Michigan. You know, you could throw Matt Painter in there for what he's done over the years with Purdue and such. And then, you look at Brad Underwood at Illinois. But, yeah, I mean, Indiana's looking for a new coach. Iowa's looking for a new coach. Minnesota's looking for a new coach. You look at some of the Pac-12, former Pac-12, now Big Ten teams mixed in there. Yeah, I think for sure Greg Gard is a top 3 coach in the Big Ten. No question about it. Surveyor also asks, what is the dream scenario for the Packers' first round? What is the nightmare? I think the dream scenario is that there is a run, obviously, on positions that the Packers don't need now. The worst case is that, or this isn't the worst nightmare, but the one downfall is that there's not a lot of quarterbacks in play, so you're not going to have a lot of teams trading up to get quarterbacks, it feels like. So if there was, it would just push everybody down. Kind of the same with offensive line. It's not a very top-tier offensive line, offensive tackle draft. So, I mean, those are positions that maybe Green Bay wouldn't need to address, especially quarterback in the first round. So there's other positions of need like, edge rusher, defensive line, a corner, maybe even a wide receiver that other teams would potentially grab before Green Bay. So I guess to answer the question, best case scenario, I think in my opinion right now, would be if like some of the defensive linemen kind of get pushed down, that they don't get picked right away, because this is a deep class for edge rushers and defensive linemen. So maybe some teams feel like they could get a quality edge rusher, defensive lineman, maybe in day 2 and such, so it pushes everybody else back. I think that would help out Green Bay in that sense. I think worst case scenario is that you're going to see a huge run on those positions, since there is not a lot of quarterbacks in this draft, that there is not a lot of, offensive tackles and such, that maybe these teams, and especially when they look at what Philly has done with their defense, you're going to see a run on some of these edge rushers, especially, too, since we've seen the contracts that some of these guys are getting. The price is up there, so you may see some teams that are going to try to get one of those young guys and try to get them on the cheap, kind of how teams do with quarterbacks now with rookie deals. So I think that would be best case, worst case scenario, that somebody, they've got a couple of options at the defensive line part. That would be best case scenario, that they kind of get pushed down. Worst case scenario would be that there is a big run on them and Green Bay is kind of left, maybe standing there if they don't make a move up to get one of those guys. And then Surveyor asks, would you rather catch a 50-plus inch muskie or the state record bluegill? I'm going to upset my best friend Jake in this one, who is a die-hard muskie fisherman, passionate muskie fisherman. I'm going for the state record, though. I want a record. I want my name in the record books. That's where I'm going. I want my name. I know it may be broken, but just for that moment, to have my name in a state record book, I'm framing that. I'm putting that in a plaque, and I'm hanging that up, and you're going to hear me talk about that to the day I die. So, Bloomer Tony, where is the best pizza in the Chippewa Valley? Good question. I would love to know that answer, too. So I'm going to throw it back to everybody else who's listening to this. C-Bomb had commented on the question saying Gino's Pizza, and I've got a confession to make. I have not tried Gino's Pizza. I want to. I love a pizza that has a lot of toppings, and it looks like from the pictures I've seen, that's what Gino's is. I'm also a thin crust guy, so I am a big fan of Sammy's Pizza. But I think that might be something we got to go on the hunt for, finding the best pizzas in the Chippewa Valley. I'm a sucker for a good tavern or bar pizza too, thin crust with a boatload of toppings. Hayloft and Withy, when they were running up and down, or when they were up and running, I love that pizza, man. That was my best. But I would throw it back to everybody else that may have some better opinions on that. But I'm a sucker for thin crust, so I'm going to go Sammy's. But I definitely would like to try Gino's at some point. Speaking of C-Bomb asks, if the Packers don't make a deep run this year, who do you feel should be on the hot seat, Goot or Matt LaFleur? So there's a lot of variables with that. If they don't make a deep run this year, I mean, is it because of injuries? Is it because of the offense? Is it because of the defense? Is it because of the talent? I mean, there's so many open-ended stuff to that. It's hard to pick somebody to blame at that because don't know exactly the reasons why they didn't make a run this year. I'm not trying to cop out or anything. But I do feel like if we don't see an improvement from the offense from last year, I mean, very run heavy, no question. But if we don't see, maybe improved quarterback play or consistent quarterback play, and I know Jordan was hurt and you got to factor that in there too, but I think there's some – I think if I had to pick between the two, who would be more on the hot seat would probably be LaFleur. Now, I don't think Goody's doing his team and his coaching staff any favors by maybe not adding a little bit more in free agency. I think he's putting a little bit more pressure on himself in this draft to be able to find guys that can be contributors right away. But this team is still talented. They still got a lot of talent. They're still a playoff caliber team. They're still a championship caliber team. There's just a lot of variables to this that, is it really Good or LaFleur's fault if they're so banged up and injured that's why they don't make a run? So, I'm not trying to cop out, but if I had to pick between the two, that would probably be most likely on the hot seat would probably be LaFleur at this point. But I think going into this season, considering how the season ended last year and considering how the offense was kind of, at the beginning with Malik Willis and the running game, we were praising LaFleur. But I think there were some questions towards the end like, well, are we properly utilizing guys on offense like a Tucker Kraft and Jada Reed? So I'd probably say LaFleur. Last one comes from Paul. What's the best course of action for the Brewers? Small market team, can't spend a lot of money. The owner also doesn't want to spend and makes comments about whether he needs to provide entertainment or World Series. Leverage the future or continue the course? I think the Brewers kind of answered that for you. I think they continue the course. I think for the Brewers and for Matt Arnold, the general manager, they know they're not going to get a ton of money. It puts a lot of pressure on themselves. It puts a lot of pressure on their scouting department. They got to be creative, and they got to figure out ways to remain competitive. I think you're seeing that with their international signings. I think you're seeing that with their farm systems. They're really, really utilizing the international market. Jackson Cheerio is an example of that. Jesus Maeda is another example of that, the 17-year-old that they're very high on. So I think you're seeing Matt Arnold in the Brewers front office trying to counter the fact that, okay, they don't have a huge payroll, so they're going to look at these different options and target the international market and look at these youngsters and try to keep them around and develop them that way. That's what I think the course of action is for the Brewers right now at this point. It makes things more difficult on the coaching staff a little bit. It puts a lot of pressure on the scouts to find those young, talented players that they can mold and hopefully develop and maybe lock them up for the cheap like they did Jackson Cheerio. But I think this is the course of action for the Brewers. We know that they can't compete with the Dodgers or the Yankees, so let's try. It's kind of like Badger basketball right now. They're looking at international players and bringing them in because they know they can't compete NIL and maybe even transfer portal with the big-name players out there. So it's kind of similar in that aspect. Good questions. Big thanks for that. So let's take a quick break, and then we'll talk some college hoops and make some baseball predictions. Coming up next. All right, my guy, Hutson, sitting across the way, and he's got some baseball questions. These are questions that he came up with by himself, and he's going to throw them my way, our way, and he's going to answer them himself. So he's got quite a few here, so let's jump right into it. Are you ready, bud?
Yep.
All right, so what's the first question that you have for us?
Who are the 15 best players in the MLB?
The 15 best players. And so you're going to go first this time, or
Yep.
are we going to go 1, 1, 2, 2?
1, 1, 2, 2.
Okay. All right. So best player first. Who do you got?
Aaron Judge.
I'm going Ohtani. So
Shohei.
Shohei Ohtani. That's your second one?
Yep.
Okay. My second one, I am going to go with Aaron Judge.
Mookie Betts.
I'm going Mookie Betts too for number 3. So we kind of have the same top. We got the same top 3, just reversed order for the top 2.
Yeah.
So number 4.
Bobby Witt Jr.
I'm going Juan Soto. Number 5.
Sneaky pick. Ronald Acuna Jr.
I am going to go with Bobby Witt Jr. at number 5 then. So
Now,
6.
number 6.
Yep.
Bryce Harper.
Good pick. I'm going to go Freddie Freeman.
Okay.
Number 6.
Number 7, Juan Soto.
I'm going to go Francisco Lindor at number 7.
Okay.
Actually, no. I'm going to go Gunnar Henderson at number 7. I'm sorry. Gunnar Henderson, 7.
Number 8, Fernando
Tatis Jr. I am going to go... I'll go Francisco Lindor at number 8.
Okay, number 9.
Who do you got for 9? Huh? You forgot.
Mike Trout.
Mike Trout. There you go. I am going to go number 9. I'm going to go Yordan Alvarez.
Okay, number 10. I gotta go
I know what it was. I don't know if you're going to change it.
Gunnar Henderson.
Okay. I'm going to go Paul Skeens, number 10. So
Number 11.
Yep.
Paul Skeens.
I'm going to go Jose Ramirez at number 11.
Okay. Number 12, Jose Ramirez.
I'm going to go Bryce Harper at number 12. So we're
Number-
at 13.
Number 13, Corey Seager.
I am going to go... I'm going to go Scooble. Tarek Scooble. So we're at 14?
Yeah.
Okay. See, now it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Going to go Guerrero Jr.?
I'll wait on that one.
Okay, well, you only got a couple more spots.
Yeah, actually, I'll go Vladdy.
Okay. You didn't pick Jose Ramirez yet either, so...
Yeah, I did.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I picked him before Seager.
Gotcha. I am going to go Ronald Acuna Jr. So our final one.
All right. Number 15 for me. Surprise. I forgot.
How did you forget already when it's...
Wait, yeah. William Contreras.
William Contreras, okay. I am going to go with... I'll go Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Okay.
At number 15. So, all right, those are our top 15 players. What's next?
Name the best player from every position.
The best player from every position? Okay, so are we going to do some bench players too, or?
3 bench players.
3 bench players. Okay, starting it off with catcher?
Yep.
All right, what do we got?
William Contreras.
Yep, I'm going to go with the same William Contreras. So first
baseman, I'm going to go Bryce Harper.
I'm going Freddie Freeman.
Okay. Second base. Earlier, I said it was Corey Seager for me.
Mm-hmm.
But this time, I'm replacing him with Mookie Betts.
Okay. I am going to go with Marte.
Ketel Marte.
Yep.
All right, for my shortstop, I got to go Bobby Witt Jr.
I'm going to go Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop too.
Okay. Third baseman, I'm going to go J-Ram.
I'm going to go Jose Ramirez too. Now, left field, DH? Okay. That's an easy one.
Shohei
Ohtani. Come on. That's easy, right?
Yep.
All right.
Left field.
Left fields.
I'm going to put Aaron Judge in left field.
All right, so you're adjusting it a little bit there. I like it, but I'm going to go Alvarez, Yordan Alvarez at left field.
Center field. I'm going to go Acuna.
I am. So I'm going to go. Am I going to change mine?
I say you.
No. I'm going to keep it.
I'm going to keep Julio Rodriguez.
I'm going to keep Julio Rodriguez.
I'm going to keep J-Rod.
Yeah.
All right.
So right field.
Right field. I'm switching mine. I'm no longer having Mike Trout. I'm putting Tatis in there.
Okay. I'm going to go Aaron Judge for my right field. So we got 3 bench players now.
All right. 3 bench players. Mike Trout, Corey Seager, and Juan Soto.
I am going to go Juan Soto, Mookie Betts, and Gunnar Henderson for my bench players.
Okay.
All right. So that's our top position players plus. Oh, we didn't do starting pitcher or relief pitcher yet.
Oh.
So starting pitcher.
Paul
Skeens. Relief pitcher.
Emmanuel Clase.
Yeah, that's right. You went there. I'm going to go with Ryan Hesley. So, all right. That's our top position players. You're shaking your head at me. So, all right. What's the next question?
Who do you think are the 2 World Series teams?
You go ahead.
Dodgers, Yankees.
I'm going to go Dodgers. I don't want to pick the Yankees. No Garrett Cole, but they're probably going to trade for a pitcher by the deadline. But I'm going to go wild card and go Boston.
See, the reason is, so this is for like the last question, the best player from every position. The bullpen, I did that thing on a paper once, and I looked up the best 7 pitchers, and Ryan Hesley was not even in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was Ryan Presley.
Yeah.
All right. Who do you think are the MVPs?
The MVPs. Who you got?
Shohei and Aaron Judge.
So you've got the same World Series matchup and the same MVPs as last year. The smart choices. I'm going to go a little bit different because I don't like repeats. I'm going to go Bobby Witt Jr. and Juan Soto.
Okay. All right. Would the Dodgers be better with Corey Seager, Trey Turner, or Jack Flaherty still on the team?
All right. What's your answer?
Corey Seager.
I am going to go with Trey Turner for my pick.
Okay.
So, although they would be better with all those players.
That's true.
So.
But then Corey or Trey would have to be coming off the bench.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Did you have any more?
No.
You want me to do a couple Brewers questions for you?
Sure, but I want to make this compliment. Like, the Dodgers might not make it to the World Series because they have too many good players that some of them might have to play in AAA.
It's a good observation. Yeah. All right. Who leads the Brewers in home runs?
William Contreras.
I'm going Rhys Hoskins. Who is the pitcher with the most wins for the Brewers this year?
Tobias Myers.
Even with the
oblique.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Fastball Freddie.
Yeah, I'll go Freddie. That's the easy answer. How many All-Stars?
3.
I'll go 2. Mine are gonna be Contreras and Jackson Churio.
Okay.
Who are your 3?
Contreras, Yelich, and Churio.
Good picks. All right, dude. Got anything else?
Nope.
All right. Thanks, buddy. We got to do this again, okay? Think of some more questions, okay? You can say bye. Nobody can hear you.
Bye.
All right. A big thanks to my guy, Hutson. He came up with all those questions by himself off the top of his head. Didn't research or anything like that. And all of his answers, yeah, they were off the top of his head, too. And he didn't look up anything. It's just he absorbs all this information, loves baseball, loves sports in general, and just absorbs everything and can remember everything when it comes to sports. So, but I think baseball's his sport right now. So big thanks. We got to get him on more. He gets nervous when he does this, but dude's good. I think so, at least. But I'm kind of biased, right? So, okay, let's wrap up this episode of the podcast with my bracket picks. All right, I'm going to go through every game here all the way up to the national champion, and I will tell you it is kind of chalkish here. So let's get to it. Our first winners, Auburn, Louisville, Michigan, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Iowa State, Marquette, Michigan State, Florida, Oklahoma, Colorado State taking down my Fighting Penny Hardaways, Maryland, Missouri, Texas Tech, Arkansas, St. John's, Duke, Mississippi State, Oregon, Arizona, BYU, Wisconsin, St. Mary's, Alabama, Houston, Georgia, Clemson, Purdue, Illinois, Kentucky, UCLA, and Tennessee. In the round of 32 to advance to the Sweet 16, Auburn takes down Louisville. Texas A&M takes down Michigan. I'm a little nervous about Iowa State with their injuries, but I do have them taking down Ole Miss to advance to Sweet 16. Michigan State taking down Marquette. Florida taking down Oklahoma. Maryland defeating Colorado State. Texas Tech defeating Missouri. Then we've got St. John's taking down Arkansas in the game of Rick Pitino versus John Calipari. Duke taking down Mississippi State. Or Arizona taking down Oregon. Wisconsin defeating BYU, although that makes me really nervous with that matchup for Wisconsin. Alabama takes down St. Mary's. Houston over Georgia. Clemson over Purdue. Illinois over Kentucky. Tennessee over UCLA. In the Sweet 16, Auburn takes down Texas A&M. Michigan State takes down Iowa State. Florida takes down Maryland. St. John's takes down Texas Tech. Duke takes down Arizona. Alabama over Wisconsin. Houston defeating Clemson. Tennessee defeating Illinois. In the Elite Eights, I've got Auburn defeating Michigan State to advance to the Final Four. Florida defeating St. John's to advance to the Final Four. Alabama takes down Duke. And then Houston over Tennessee. In the Final Four, I'm going to go with Auburn over Florida and Houston over Alabama. And then in a national championship, I'm going to go with Houston over Auburn. So those are my bracket picks. All right, a big thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Man Cave Podcast, brought to you by our good friends from Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. And a big thanks to my guy, Hutson, for joining us and talking some baseball. Hopefully you all enjoyed that. All right, till next time, I'm Dan Casper, and I'll talk to you on the next episode of the Man Cave Podcast.